Hello, world. Thank you for joining today's podcast. I have Jamil T. Davis joining me. We're going to be talking about QA, the state of the job market, and everything around it. So, Jamil, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always glad to collaborate on something. And I mean, we've been talking about this for a while specifically. And I'm just glad to be here. Glad that we can, work together on this.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So, for background, for those who probably don't know, which is a lot of you, I started in QA, specifically video game testing, right? Which is like a really easy way to get into QA. And it's pretty much a dream job for a lot of people. You just sit there, play video games all day, find bugs, report them. The engineering team will correct them, you validate them, and then you push out the product. Um, that's actually where I met Jamil the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We were working at a big company for their game division, kind of going through that gambit. And then ever since then, I've kind of leveled up, progressing more into the field, into the industry, until I finally got to a point where I became a product manager for a different big entertainment company. And then unfortunately, around 2023, 2024, I was laid off and I have been looking for work ever since, picking up, side projects and contracts here and there, but really trying to find my new home. And I think you've kind of shared a similar.
Yeah. I started out like you mentioned at that large company, well, they're an entertainment company overall.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got a lot of things going on.
They do a lot of things. Started off there as a QA tester, worked there for a little over a year and a couple of months. I actually left before my contract ended. A lot of people were in contracts there
Right.
with the hope of becoming full time employees, but that didn't happen for a lot of people. And I figured that was going to happen to me. My contract was going to end and just I was going to have to look for something else. So I did. I did early on. And I went to another company, startup gaming company, was there for about 2 months and got laid off with the entire QA team, with the exception of the managers. Uh, Very, very interesting situation. One of many layoffs, unfortunately, but from there, I went to another company that made digital sheet music. Very, very small startup, like the smallest company I've ever worked for. I think it was 11 people. And I was a senior QA analyst. I created all of the test cases, tested all the tickets, all the new features and functionality. I eventually took over all of customer support. So I became like the one-stop shop for quality and support there. And eventually got to a point where we saw the writing on the wall, some of the employees within the company, and knew that we didn't have too much longer within that company because they weren't doing good. And they had been trying to sell off for maybe a few months, and we knew about it, but we didn't understand at the time what that meant for us. So we kind of just one by one started looking for other opportunities, and then I went to interview for a QA analyst position at another really big company, music company, and after that interview, I felt good. I felt like I had it.
Right.
Within an hour of that interview ending, I was on my way home and I get a call from the current company I'm working for. Because I had taken a half day to go to this interview.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, they said that they couldn't keep us. So I was out of a job from that point on. And it was interesting because I could even drop off the equipment. So months later, after I told, them the situation of like, hey, I still have all this equipment. How do you want me to send it back? Oh, we'll send you some stuff to ship it back. They never did. So then I got a kind of threatening letter from their CEO about the equipment.
Oh man.
And yeah, one day when I was working at the new company, so let me go back. The day after I got laid off, I got an offer from this other company.
Great timing.
Great timing. Pay was better, environment was better, way closer to home, and it was great. So a few months into that job, I get contacted by someone that I worked with at the previous company about the equipment. They met me at the new job. I was working, I think it was like lunchtime or close to around that time. But we talked for a little bit. They picked up the equipment. around this time too, there was something going on at a university. I won't name it specifically because it was a pretty weird event, but um, yeah, I just remember that day specifically because of that event and all this happening all at the same time.
Huh.
It was very, very scary. But
Okay.
yeah, I was at this other company for maybe a little over a year. Um, I had tested all of their mobile applications, their website, created processes for everything. I was the only QA person there, and there was another QA person, I believe, in Texas.
Okay.
I think they were in Texas. Oh no, they were in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
They did automation. I did all the manual stuff. So we worked well together. Um, Great dude. I don't know where he is now, but I don't think he's at this company anymore. And then they hire an SDET and someone else that knows automation. And I'm like, well, this doesn't look good for me.
Writing on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have any automation experience. Even to this day, I don't have any automation experience. Um, so a few months go by of us all working together, and it's pretty clear that the company is doing okay, but not as well as they want to, be doing. So they laid off some people. I see a few engineers go over like the course of a week and a half. Then uh, after that time, I get called into an office by the engineering director and HR, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man,
We're gonna have that talk.
yeah, we're gonna have that talk. I thanked them for the opportunity and took my stuff and left. They said for some reason you can stay to the end of the day if you want, and I'm in the back of my mind like, no, why would I do that? I need to go look for a job.
Right.
So I got my stuff. Our iOS developers, our Android developer, I told them what happened. They were shocked. Um, we all shook hands, and I left. That was it. And then I think, out of work for maybe, damn, how long was it? Maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Um, so after that, I went back to the first company I worked for on another contract. I think I took like a $40,000 to $50,000 salary decrease
And
because it was an entry level position.
this is the big company we met
Yeah.
initially. Okay, gotcha. I know. Who you're
Yeah,
talking
it
about.
was
Yeah.
it was very sad, but at least I was able to get another job.
Right.
And I was doing something completely different than I did the first time, because the first time we were working on mobile games and stuff like that. This time it was a streaming service on different set-top boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, so something I never done before, but wasn't too incredibly difficult, and it was fine. I will say though that there were some people that were still there that I worked with, or we both worked with,
The first round.
the first round, which was good to see some familiar faces. But there was also someone that I worked with directly on this team that was just super unhelpful as their senior QA person,
Got it.
unfortunately. So I don't know what their deal was. My understanding was that they were going for like a product position. So maybe they just were unhappy still working in QA, but who knows?
And I feel like that's the thing with QA for people who may not know. Like QA is such a umbrella term, right?
Yeah.
Like you have so many different tracks you can go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we both came up in gaming. I came up. There was a company in Agora Hills, and they just did console games, right? So
Yeah.
we were like testing on the Wii, on the Xbox, on PlayStation, and that was like way different than like mobile gaming, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're on smartphones, and there's just a lot more involved. And then you have like over the air, right? A streaming box, and then you have websites, and then you have mobile app development, not game, but just like an app development. And I feel like our skills at one point were just so highly sought after, right? Like,
Yeah.
it is in a lot of ways a very entry level position, but if you have the drive and the curiosity and you can kind of put things together, like you could go all the way up to I think where we got, where we're engineers, we're looking over code, we're part of the release process, we're having the conversations with developers and kind of giving that buy-in or product or whatever stakeholders. And now it just feels like everything shifted away from there. I remember, I mean, and just as a contrast, around the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right before we went to lockdown, I wasn't really looking. I think at that time I was working at a, a finance company,
Mm-hmm.
right? Very like office job. You know, we had a very, uh, locked in structure for finance. You know,
Yeah.
I worked with their automation team. I was learning more about automation. And then we had a mutual friend. We had talked, and they were saying, "Hey, we're part of like a startup. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing a similar finance, but a little more attractive, a little more sexy, right? Not
Yeah.
so like rigid." And I hopped over, and that's when we met again. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, this is great," you know. And then the remote possibility. Um, I then left that company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a very startup, traditionally, they have two tracks, right? You either want to get bought out or you want to take over the category,
Yeah.
right? Um, and they ended up getting bought out, and we were all well aware of it. But yeah, QA has always just kind of been a revolving door, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of people who are getting their foot in the door, they level up, and then they go somewhere else for more money or for a better position or title or whatever, right? Um, so I landed from that QA position with another big entertainment company. They put out movies, all this stuff, and I had gotten into a product position, and I really enjoyed it, right? Because it was kind of the culmination of everything I've worked toward, right?
Yeah.
All the technical knowledge, all the, being able to have conversations with people, executive level, C level, all that, and then laid off. And then I'm reaching out to my contacts in my network, and I'm finding out the entire entertainment, video games, movies, social, all of it, everybody has been hit. And the first level to go is typically QA
Yeah.
and engineering. Um, and it's just like, it's really concerning. It was super humbling to me because I've never experienced a layoff, right? I've always kind of had the opportunity, if I saw the writing on the wall, I could jump over somewhere else, or I could reach out, or I could apply and get, I would probably apply to maybe like 10 jobs, right? And I knew I had 3 to 2 interviews that were going to happen, and then one job would come from that. But now I'm in the hundreds, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like they want what's that phrase? Champagne for beer prices, right?
Yeah.
They want a QA, a product, an engineer, all rolled in, but at an entry level QA pay and on a contract, and you have to be in office now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just super disappointing.
Yeah.
I guess
Very.
is the phrase I would use. Um, and so I'm looking at it and I'm trying to understand, right? Like, are the golden days behind us, right? Um, I know we know people who worked in gaming currently, and a lot of people, again, in just that whole entertainment realm, everyone's got their head down.
Yeah.
They're eating the work, they're not trying to, move, or they're just locked in. Unhappy, probably, but just, the check is coming and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this disruption, and I think you talk about in one of your videos, is AI,
Yeah.
right? The implementation and the bringing in of AI as a tool for these companies to kind of filter out talent and bring out who they want, but it's not there, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's doing a lot more damage in terms of not incorporating that X factor, whether it be growth, right,
Mm-hmm.
or talent, or the ability to, yeah, to essentially grow into a role and take on different responsibilities. I've run through um, the cycle, right, where you find a job post, you identify the keywords, you take
Mm-hmm.
your resume, you get an ATS score, which is applicant tracking system, right, which is the AI tool that a lot of HR companies are using. It'll give you that score. You run to a Chat GPT or Gemini. You
Mm-hmm.
revise your resume to get a higher score. And then you find out that these companies are also using AI detecting tools. So now you have to find another AI tool to make it have a low score, right? So it's this cat and mouse game,
Yeah.
all to get a job, to do the work, and to be happy going into work, and to be able to support yourself and yeah, and live, right?
Yeah. It's uh it's a very stressful cycle. um, yeah, and to touch on AI a bit, like I had used AI at the last company I was laid off from to figure out if we could use it to create test cases for feature development, for live operations, for process improvements, note taking, all that stuff. All the things that either QA, product, project, production, it doesn't matter who you are, all the things that are, I guess, the easier task
Yeah.
that need to be done, completed in a more efficient manner. And yeah, AI is just here. It doesn't matter if it's fully fleshed out yet. Companies are willing to take the chance to use these tools to, cut cost, get things done faster, and yeah, do whatever it can for itself.
And the crazy thing about AI is, for a long time, to my error, I kind of confused it with automation, right? Whereas essentially you find a common path, right? And you automate it and make things. But no, AI is like a whole level above that.
Yeah.
I've talked with engineers and people could fact check me, but from what they've shared with me is AI is a data mining program. And
Yeah.
you feed it data and it'll compartmentalize it, it'll make sense of it. And then when you feed a query or a question into it, it'll compile everything it knows about that topic and give you an answer, right?
Yep.
And one of the engineers I talked to has shared with me that AI has essentially eaten all the data on the internet. Like
It's crazy.
petabytes of data, right? As we know, being the internet, AI has already gone through it. And now it needs more data to just get that much better.
Yeah.
So when you kind of factor that in, you think, it's only been what, a couple of years that it's really iterated and grown.
Yeah, a couple of years, and there's already multiple versions of each AI tool or service out there now because they're just improving it so quickly. Each company that's, creating these AI tools or bots or services or integrations, whatever you want to call them, like they're just heavily investing into those things and they're getting funding like crazy from a bunch of different places. Because everyone knows AI is the next thing. Whether it's a good or bad thing, I guess we'll have to find out, overall. But like, yeah, I know a lot of people that just hate AI. I know a lot of people that love AI for different things, and I've used AI in my personal life for different things. I think it's hard to integrate that in a workplace and assume that everyone's going to be, one, okay with it, two, understand it, and three, like, trust that the company is not going to replace them with it.
Yeah, that's a lot of trust in people who've shown that they can't really be trusted.
Yeah.
I think AI is the new revolution, right? Like you
Yeah.
had the Industrial Revolution, now AI. I don't see it going anywhere. I have heard, again, from my network and different engineers, that there is the idea floating around of unionizing engineers, right? Because a lot of companies will use AI for coding, for code review, for process improvements, and this is all arguably intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
Even though it went into the internet, a lot of engineers are trying to find a way to timestamp it or to watermark it so that it can't be, something that took them months to figure out how to build this module, or can't just be, shared with a competitor or shared with a different country or used to their detriment. All very interesting, all way above, right? Like I'm just here trying to find a job, and there are other people who are having these much larger encompassing conversations about where do we go from here.
Yeah.
I think even Elon at one point said we let the genie out of the bottle, right? I think he did an interview with Joe Rogan or some other podcaster and more or less shared that if we don't put a lock on AI, it's going to grow and get out of control.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we're at right now, is being used in areas that we may not even know about it, right?
Yeah.
There was that unfortunate incident with the CEO of a healthcare company. They were, unalived. And I think a lot of the motive behind that was that medical company had used AI for approving and denying medical claims. And more often than not, when it weighed all the risk and all the factors, it denied more than it approved, right?
Yeah.
It was just very cold and calculated. And, to a lot of degree, I think even HR using AI, because I get it. I have friends who are in the HR field, and they share that when they're hiring for a position, they got maybe 3 seconds, right? To go through all these applicants, right? They got 3 seconds to skim over it, find the keywords, see if it would be a good fit, and then move them either to a yes or no pile. If you throw AI in there, then it kind of helps refine that more for them, gives them less work. But again, you could potentially be skipping over somebody who would be really qualified or who has the right trajectory to grow into that role or do more for the company.
I'm kind of curious about HR and how much experience and knowledge they have in terms of creating the prompts that they need to create for these AI tools to go over resumes and determine whether something's worthy or not of moving through the process. Because, like, sure, you might feel like you're creating great prompts for doing, things, creating tasks, generating queries or whatever. But I mean, I'm wondering how they determine whether or not their prompt is good enough to use, and whether, like, how often they need to iterate on that prompt. It's kind of like a fascinating thing to me because different companies are quick to use the tools, but are they as quick to understand them, fully understand the potential of the tool, and realize whether or not they're making a mistake by not going back and assessing how they're using the tool.
Yeah, and then it also kind of begs the question of, do these jobs actually exist? One, and two, do they really want to hire?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you have an immediate need, and I think we've both experienced it, where it's like you throw your resume out there, they need that person, you're being contacted, and they're moving you along.
Yeah.
I've had so many jobs I've applied for. I've gotten the call back, I've had the interview, first round, third round, fourth round, and then it goes nowhere. And a week or two later, that job has been renewed on LinkedIn or renewed on Indeed or on the company website, still there. And yeah, it just really kind of makes you wonder, like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
who's running the ship, right? Like, if it's not a role you really intend to fill, then pull it down, right? But then, you have all these other elements of showing the stakeholders, right? The investors, like, hey, we're growing. We have X number of job positions we plan to fill, right? Even though it's just going to be a revolving job posting. And I think AI is just another way of kind of remove accountability from any particular department.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, well, I didn't do it, AI did it, and we trust in the AI, right? So just kind of walk away from it.
I mean, a lot of companies have goals for, AI that are tied specifically to AI. The last company I worked for, one of my annual goals was to improve processes by using AI tools. And we used one specifically because of a specific reason. But I mean, I had used different tools before. I had used like ChatGPT and Copilot and some other ones. But yeah, it's just very interesting that companies are willing to make this a part of your annual review because it's something that is tied to the company. Therefore, everyone's liable for whether or not you can use these tools and use them in an effective way to improve different things within the company, and cut costs or headcount, whatever it may be. It's insane to me.
And I think even right now, and not to get political, right, but just kind of stating the facts, I know, right, our leadership right now of the country has kind of had this initiative to bring jobs back, right? And there's this whole very interesting conversation going on between two different, the buyer suppliers and all that. But again, I've heard that AI is going to be heavily involved if and when jobs do come back, because our workforce doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the talent, doesn't have the drive to keep up that craftsmanship of items that we may be purchasing from another company. It could also be the idea that they don't want people to unionize, right? If you could, hire a machine, kind of like right now what we have with let's say potato chips, right? There's not one person filling that bag. More likely than not, it's a chute that drops in a certain amount, it measures the weight, and then it seals it up, and then a person gives it the final check, right? And if you extrapolate that now with AI and manufacturing and building and quality and all that, we're living in this potentially beautiful future, right? When now people are freed up to do and take in whatever interests they have, whether that be poetry or movies or create,
Hmm.
or we're in this position where nobody's working. We're kind of like this dystopian, right? Now we have like this, yeah, this huge imbalance of access, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be very interesting to see hardline where we go from here, right? What
Yeah.
direction, what path we're going to go. Like I feel like you're going to see exactly what direction we're going in very soon, right? Um, but yeah, even with like AI robots, right? Who is it? Atlas, I think, is a company that Google had acquired for a short time,
Yeah.
and then they let them go, and those robots are doing some crazy things, like lifting up. Oh my gosh, Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Amazon, their workforce in the warehouses had posed a strike. Bezos and company were like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you see all the little QR codes on the floor, right? Like the machine knows where to take it, right? Like
Yep.
we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Even the self-driving cars, Waymo, I think
Oh
it is.
yeah.
So it's been weaving its way in. I
Hmm.
think now people are starting to wake up. I know I'm starting to wake up and realize, holy crap, like I'm surrounded by a lot of AI fed industry.
Yeah.
Um, and I just don't know what that means for me. Like, where do I go from here?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just like obviously, we're both in the same situation right now where we're looking for jobs, and that's the main thing we should be focusing on, obviously, because I mean we got shit to pay. But I think the bigger thing and something we talked about before is just doing your own thing. If there's something you want to do, a passion you have, you feel a little spark of creativity, you go with that instinct uh, and see where it takes you. Because for both of us, like we're doing this right now. You're filming this. I film videos. I stream. I'm working on digital products. Like you got to do anything and everything you're interested in, and see what'll stick. See what you're actually interested in long term, and what could possibly, generate revenue for you down the line, and may take you down a different career path. So yeah, creativity is very important. It's something that a lot of people have. I think a lot of people are just scared to make that jump. Whether it's tied to financial or not financial, whether it's tied to like putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are scared to do that. I was like that in the beginning, um, and then after a while, I kind of just got over it. And now that I've been doing it pretty regularly, I'm just like, hey, I'm doing this. It's here. If you like it, cool. If not, cool. But
You don't ever wake up in the middle of the night like, oh my gosh, that's so cringe, or what? Oh, why? That will live forever, right? Because once
yeah,
it's on the internet,
that's
you,
it.
you can't take it back, right? Like
Hmm.
people will save it or share it, or which is a good thing. But yeah, so you don't think software tech is going to ever, like, have we already crossed that bridge? Is it behind us? The days of hiring QA, of software engineers, stepping in there and creating the new mobile app or the new platform or the new
I
whatever it is, right?
I feel like at this point right now, I think it's very hard for anyone to get into manual QA. It's possible at, companies that are looking for that. Just it'll likely be more of a contract basis or a freelance basis. But I think even going down the line, when companies are deciding whether or not to use an AI tool versus hiring an SDET or an automation engineer,
Right.
the automation tool may be the more likely thing going forward. Even people who understand how to automate things and how to develop and test things at the same time. I think pretty soon we're gonna get to that point where it's not enough because of the pace in which AI can get stuff done and how much it can intake at once compared to one automation engineer, tester, SDET. Like it just doesn't matter. Like the amount of things that an AI service can get done um, at a fraction of the cost is going to be what determines whether or not companies hire an actual person or go with that service. So
Yeah. And I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think the industries are shifting specifically with entertainment. Um, I'm holding out. Like I have seen a couple of jobs for like a manual QA tester, and I'm like, whoa, like what company is this? And they're usually like, yeah, a very, very tiny team of like 20 people, right?
Yeah.
And the skill set. But eventually at some point they're going to need bigger, better, more,
Yeah.
tech savvy, more ingrained testing engineers, SDET developers. But I know big companies are finding ways to cut corners. Like Warner Brothers, recently their CEO came out and was talking about we don't want to do passion projects. We don't want to do our art house, right? We want big IPs like Minecraft, like Batman. Um, and they're really shifting toward that area to kind of keep them afloat, essentially.
Yeah.
I've messed with AI a bit, right? When it comes to writing, yeah, I could see people using that to write a script. I could see people using that to write a letter. I could see people using that to even code. It's it's crazy. It's truly just crazy.
I mean, people are using it to make movies now. There's a lot of like AI generated videos that look real, and it's insane.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna get better over the next few years. It's just like you said. I think it's gonna come down to whether or not employers unionize because it's as people who've worked in QA, this has been a hot topic for a long time. The company I just recently worked at, like their QA is unionized.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No way.
their
I
QA
didn't
is
realize.
unionized, and
Huh.
I had no idea until I found a channel related to that, and they were reporting all this stuff from within the company, and some employees being let go. Yeah, it was very interesting. I was like, oh,
How long has that been a thing? That's a
yeah.
pretty noteworthy observation.
But it's not every company, and that's the
Right.
thing. I think each individual field needs to be unionized. If you're not in a leadership position, then you should be able to unionize.
Hmm.
You know, because I mean, unfortunately, like I've been in a leadership position for 5 or 6 years now, and I would want QA and engineering teams to unionize because I've seen a lot of stuff over the past like 12 years working in gaming and tech, and man, it's just insane. Um, yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean,
It's
to a degree, they really do kind of take advantage of the fact that you want to be there and that you're passionate about it, and they,
yep,
they profit off of it, right? Like all your hard work and your investment into it, they
yeah,
turn around and then they, we're done with you, bye. We'll see you. Maybe
exactly.
we'll see you again. But um, yeah, I have seen those AI videos, which are pretty wild. Where do we go from here now, right? I
Hmm.
know a lot of Warner being one of them, um, entertainment companies, because it's a shifting platform.
Yeah,
They pulled away from your traditional like Hollywood stars, right? And now you have a lot of social media influencers. You have your Logan Paul, you have your iSpeed, you have your Mr. Beast, you have all these. I just found out today Mr. Beast has a show on Amazon Prime, right? The Beast Games or whatever.
oh yeah,
Um, and kind of looking into that more, it's a smart move
hmm,
in the industry because it comes with a built-in audience, right? Mr.
yeah,
Beast has so many viewers, subscribers. They know if they put anything out there with his name on it, even if you get half of that, which is global, not
yeah,
regional, not it's like the world. It's a pretty good investment.
yeah,
Even Logan Paul's show, which I'm probably not going to watch because I don't think it's for me. I get it, right? Kardashians, right? They started that way back when with their whole social media influence and kind of capturing their targeted market. And I have been part of a lot of meetings where they talk about YouTube specifically and saying that it is maybe not in the beginning stages, but
hmm,
it hasn't yet reached its maturity. And if you, to your point, if you're creative, if you have an idea, if you have knowledge you want to share or impart, conversations you think that are important, and you put it online, you have a very good chance of reaching an audience
yeah,
and people who will resonate with that, right? And kind of
hmm.
showcasing a different side and skill set, which I have to, commend you, I guess is the right word, or appreciate you,
I
because
guess I don't
you're
know.
you're like from every video. I feel like you improve it, right? Whether it be framing, lighting, audio, content, format, all of it. Like it's always been very inspirational. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm on my trajectory, trying to hold up that production value. So I just want to let you know that. But yeah, so you have YouTube, you have Instagram. I think now you have Vimeo, you have X, you have all these different platforms. In your opinion, kind of doing this as long as you have. Oh, you also do Twitch too, right? For video game streaming?
Yeah, so I make long form content on YouTube, and then I do live gameplay on Twitch, and then I cut up like the gameplay to short form clips for social media.
Okay. Which
Yeah.
one do you favor? Which one do you think it gives you the most feedback?
I feel like YouTube, honestly,
Okay.
because I've been doing YouTube and making videos of different like types of videos for a few years now. This is not my first channel. I think we talked about that before, but um, I'm constantly learning and understanding what I need to do and how I need to make videos and improving the process of making those videos and how often to upload and looking at the analytics and all that stuff. For my live gameplay stuff on Twitch, it's all about interacting with Chad and playing the games I like to play. Um, and that does generate a little bit of revenue, very very little,
Okay.
but I'm monetized on Twitch. I'm not monetized on YouTube. YouTube comes down to, I think now it's just the watch time hours. I need more people to watch the video. So eventually I'll get there. I've already had a couple companies reach out to join their affiliate programs.
Oh, very good.
One of them I've been showcasing on my Twitch streams for like the last couple weeks. The other one I just got in my inbox, I think a couple days ago. It's a shopping service that a lot of people use. It's not Amazon because I'm already affiliate with them.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm very excited about the potential growth of the YouTube channel specifically because I feel like I have way more opportunities to have companies look at me and say, hey, would you like to work with us on either a sponsorship or join our affiliate program, or we can work together on a long-term deal. I feel like there's more potential growth on YouTube than Twitch. Twitch is, I mean, if I'm being honest, both platforms are incredibly saturated, but it's harder to grow on Twitch than it is to grow on YouTube. Like you can have substantial growth on YouTube and not become a gigantic creator and still make more money than a lot of Twitch streamers. It just depends on how you create your content and how you plan to monetize that. Because if you're doing it just through AdSense, it's not going to work.
Okay.
You got to do AdSense. You got to do affiliate marketing in terms of generating affiliate links for your viewers to buy things through those links,
Right.
which will kick you back a commission. Brand deals, digital products, physical products like merch and other stuff. It just seems more valuable to do that through YouTube and creating regular video content than live streaming on Twitch, unless you generate a large fan base, but it's very hard to do that. I mean, Twitch's guidelines is, I think it was have 3 average viewers per stream and then stream a certain amount of hours per month, which is super easy to obtain. And I did that, but their next milestone to become a partner is insanely complicated.
Really?
Because you have to have like, what is it? 75 average viewers. I mean, it's hard to get that many viewers when you're only getting like 10 or 15 viewers per stream.
Right.
Unless you get rated by another large streamer or you're streaming with other streamers in like collaboration mode or something.
I feel like there are two different audiences too, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
for like Twitch and streaming, gaming in particular, you kind of have to appease whatever the new hot game is, right? Whatever the new trendy, whether it be like, Call of Duty or Marvel Rivals or Zelda, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like you are the entertainment. Like your commentary, your reactions, your engagement kind of draws more people to watch this, for lack of a better phrase, like this, just like a streamer, right? Like somebody playing the game. Whereas YouTube, there's more like the educational, more the conversational, more the day in the life of, right? I think you have like an unboxing video
Yeah,
Uh,
I have unboxing videos, product reviews, talking head videos where I'm just talking about my experiences working in the different industries and the different things I've seen. I mean, I have a bunch of different type of videos, but I going back to the whole like live gameplay thing, gaming doesn't pay as much as like other genres in terms of if you're a game streamer, you're not going to get the same brand deals as like someone who's creating tech videos on YouTube.
hmm,
You know, I feel like someone who's making educational content is going to get better deals and have more opportunities to work with different brands. Whereas there's a certain number of brands in gaming, you know,
right. Agreed.
and if you're on YouTube and you're creating productivity content, educational content for like courses or something like that, or you know, you're reviewing products, like there's way more opportunity to do things outside of gaming, and you could get some pretty good deals in gaming in terms of becoming a bigger streamer and having sponsor streams, things like that. But I would take the YouTube partnerships, collabs, all that stuff easily over Twitch stuff. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
just
a
feel
little more.
like it's way more because it's more, you take more time to like thoughtfully plan your content and to work on things in the background than you do with Twitch. Twitch is like you make sure everything's good with your setup and then you go live.
Right,
And then you just deal with your chat and you deal with the game, or if you're just doing like a just chatting stream or something like that, or
right.
you're doing a live podcast, like you're just doing that live on stream and you're interacting with chat once in a while and then you end stream. Like I feel like there's way less planning that goes involved into live gameplay and Twitch streams in general than there are when it comes to like YouTube content.
Yeah, yeah. So my understanding is Twitch, when it comes to streaming games, you're kind of confined to rails, right? Like there's a guide, and you really don't go outside of that guide, right? Like you're not. I guess you could do like educational video in the sense of, here's how you beat this boss really quick, or here's how you speed run the game, right?
I mean, yeah, people do that, and there's different categories on Twitch. It's not just gaming, but like gaming is what Twitch is at its core.
Right.
Um, because you could be doing educational streams, but the thing is, they're just streams. Everything is a stream on Twitch, and your VODs are still on Twitch for a certain amount of time. It's different depending on whether or not you're an affiliate or a partner. You get more time for your VODs to be saved, but no one goes back and watch VODs on Twitch. Whereas YouTube is made for VODs.
Yeah.
There's way more um, SEO on YouTube that actually helps people come back to your long form videos than there is on Twitch.
Right.
And I feel like if Twitch really took their VOD seriously, they could probably compete with YouTube in the long run, but they're not going to do that because it's not what Amazon wants.
Oh, interesting. So wait, what are your goals then for Twitch? Like, what do you?
I mean, I do want to become a partner eventually, but the problem is I can't do one of these things full time. I have to do live gameplay. I have to make video content for YouTube. I have to generate short form clips. Um, and then I'm really working on the digital products and I'm working on my course. So it's like I'm like split in multiple directions trying to do different things because they're all things I really want to do. And I don't want to give up on any one of them to give me more time or interest in another thing.
Okay.
So right now, my biggest goal is to become a YouTube partner, to get monetized on YouTube. But like I said, there's a requirement for 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers, but I'm nowhere near the 4,000 hour watch time mark. I think I need like 3,500 hours or something.
And that watch time is people watching the videos.
Yeah, it's people watching the videos, but strictly videos, not shorts. Shorts watch time does not count.
Oh,
Short. So
interesting.
yeah, because there's also another requirement for shorts. If you can't get 4,000 hours of watch time for regular videos, I think there's a like 1 million or 10 million watch hours or views on shorts. It's some weird large number, but I think they made that number so high because they know that short form content is what's really moving the needle on YouTube.
Right.
Um, but I've only made like 3 shorts on YouTube, and I don't know how often I'm going to do that in the future.
See, I've done shorts and I appreciate shorts. I think YouTube came out with the shorts in combat to like TikTok and to like Instagram Reels,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that short form, like I'll admit, like if I need to find out information, whether it's setting on the phone or, directions, whatever I need, I'll look for the short form real quick, right? Give me the
Yeah,
information I need so I can move on with my life, right? More thought out, interesting conversations, I'll do the long form. But uh, yeah, I think for YouTube, for myself, the goal is similar to yours, right? Just try to grow and
yeah,
really using the platform to try and connect with people who might be going through what we're going through or have better insight and just kind of build that community,
yeah.
right? Um, and I really appreciate your latest videos, right? I think you have like a new topic trend theme of just how to create videos. Is
Well, I mean, we talked about me doing that, and I need to take the time to fully plan that out because I have worked on like a mind map for that, but I also am working on the what do you call it? The coursework for my QA course. So, like something like a video on how to make videos and the entire process is, something that would take much longer than a product review, um, because it's not just like telling you how I do it; it's actually showing you how I do it too.
right?
So it's a lot of me filming the B roll on me filming A roll and filming B roll and filming me editing and screen recording and all that stuff. So it's like it's gonna be a process. I'm excited to make it because I want people to understand that you don't need like a fancy camera to film this stuff. Like I film it with my iPhone, and I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the extremely expensive gear that the other YouTuber has or the other creator has.
Right.
When I started out, I had like a very small tripod. I had the LG. It was the LG Incredible because um, I had bought a specific case for it, but that was the first phone where I tested out all the camera modes, and I was doing like slow mo stuff, and I was doing time lapses.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, really like I think thinking about it now, I guess that video is going to be probably a series. I think it'd be easier just to make it a series.
Yeah, it's kind of the topic and the theme, right? Of like,
Yeah,
it's, and I think what's really impressive again is that it's all you. You
yeah,
don't have a crew, you don't have a lighting person, you don't have like a camera person, you don't have audio. Like, you're doing the editing, you're doing the filming, you're doing all of it.
yeah.
It's just you. Can you share how long it takes from idea to when you actually put out a video?
So there's 2 different paths. So like one of them is it'll instantly come to me. I think I told you about this the other day in my last video. I was just walking back and forth between uh, my office and the bedroom, and it just popped in my head. And then I kind of thought about it for a few minutes, and I was like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta film. Uh, and I closed my door, and I just made a video. I didn't even set up the tripod. I set up like this thing that I have that grips to my desk. Um, it took me like, so let's say 10 minutes to figure out that I wanted to make a video, and then another 10 to 15 minutes to set up lighting. I set up one light, and then I adjusted the blinds behind my computer, and then I set up the tripod, or not the tripod, but the little stick thing that goes in the mount. It's just a mount.
Right.
Um, I think it took me like 5 minutes to adjust framing, and then I shot the video. The video took me like maybe 20, 25 minutes to make. Um, I think overall it took maybe an hour and a half, and that's from like the idea popping in my head all the way to editing the video and uploading it. Um, yeah. So all the way to uploading, The uploading separate because that took like maybe like 30 minutes.
Because of like 4K and all that, it has to
Yeah.
process it and render it and do all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it could be a hassle. But yeah, no, I mean, again, to your point, I think we're at a point in time with all the different tools, all the different platforms where if you have an idea, a message, something you just want to put out there, you can put it out there and see
Yeah.
how far it goes. So, unfortunately, I think we're in agreement that QA, as we've known it and as we've come up, is gone, is dead.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get back there again. It was fun
It was
while it
fun.
lasted, right? But I think now everything is kind of going the way of AI and automation and just more developer oriented roles. Um, but when one door closes, right, another one opens. And I think this whole creative medium, this YouTube, this Instagram, this TikTok, this Twitch, right?
Hmm.
This kind of gives way now to people to really find themselves and find their voice and put out content that can reach others and create that community, that audience. And yeah, I think now is a great time for you to put out videos on how to actually do that, right?
Yep.
Because I know me walking into this, I leaned on you a lot to kind of help show. But I think for me, a lot of it was more the cringe, right? Of like, oh my God, I hate the way I sound. I hate the way I look, like.
Hey, I felt the same way when I started. I didn't like my voice at all. And I showed my wife my first videos on this new channel. And she was like, sounds fine.
Right.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, you're fucking
Right.
right. But yeah, you get over it, you know? The more and more you do it, the more you like optimize how you're making the videos and, the easier it is for you to come up with ideas, the more you're going to enjoy it and the more you're going to realize like, hey, I'm stressing over nothing.
Right.
The important thing is I have this creativeness inside and I'm willing to put myself out there and I want to put myself out there and I want to do things that are outside the box in terms of not your typical 9 to 5 thing and be creative and show that to people on the internet.
Well, how do you handle it, like negative feedback or rude comments or?
Oh, I've had some. I've had some on Twitch. I've had some on YouTube, and that's like people being rude or people selling their services, especially on Twitch, because it's like a lot of people who do art want to make emotes or badges or channel banners or things for you, logos and stuff.
Oh, really?
Especially when you first start streaming,
That's the
if
thing.
they can tell that you don't have anything and it's generic, yeah, it was bad when I first started. But
Huh.
my logo is just my face. I just used an AI tool a while ago to make that. Um, and then the banner is something I made from Canva, I think.
Okay.
But everything else, I actually paid someone to make. Like, I think this is back in September of last year.
Like Fiverr, like that service,
Yeah,
or?
this is on Fiverr.
Oh,
They made the
okay.
badges for me. They made the emotes.
Huh.
Came out exactly how I wanted them. There were some other emotes that I planned to get made, but that was around the time, uh, our cat Barry was dealing with a lot. So, um, and the emotes were going to be of him and Goten. So I think eventually I'll do that. Um, my wife is still up for doing that and having me have those on the channel, but gonna take some time to more thoughtfully like plan those out. But yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of like spam and junk comments, and then rude people. Like the rudeness is more so on YouTube, which is funny.
Right.
Um, and if I get something that's like actual criticism about the video and it's helpful criticism, then I'll either leave a thumbs up or I'll comment back. If it's someone being like an ass, then I'll just block the comment and block them from the channel entirely.
Really?
Hmm.
See, I've heard two schools of thoughts of this, right? Like, if something is overtly disrespectful or otherwise harmful,
Yeah.
right? Because there are those people out there who just say things, and you're like, wow, in today's age, you probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But I've had one or two rude comments, and I just reply back to them like, I'm sorry, I'll do better, right? Like, any engagement I've heard is great engagement, right? Like, there is
Yeah.
no bad publicity, right? There are no bad comments if people are interacting with your content. So, I guess depending on the person, how they want to address it and deal with it. But
Yeah, I just didn't want that type of stuff to constantly be a thing, because if you just let it slide and keep letting it slide, it'll continue to happen. It'll get worse. Once or twice, like it's fine, but yeah, I just don't want it to turn into something that's a constantly toxic thing.
right.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, yeah, no, again, I appreciate your time. I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on here, getting this first, podcast locked in. I think we may collaborate in the future again.
you let me know, man.
Yeah, you're into it?
I'm down.
All
I'm
right.
down to do this.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. All the knowledge I've kind of, taken from you. And yeah, until next time, everyone, thank you for watching. We'll catch you later.